Hello and welcome everyone for joining us here today for our webinar on Webforms, data entry in a single step. My name is Elyse Summers and I'm a customer success manager here at ClearRisk. For those of you who are not familiar with ClearRisk, we are a risk and insurance management software company based in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. Or for those of you without a map in front of you, we're an island that juts out in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean and the furthest east you can go in the North America. Are we live yet? We're working? Okay, we're good. At ClearRisk, our goal is to optimize risk, reduce the frequency and severity of incidents while reducing the overall cost of risk to our customers. We are excited to bring you today's topic on Webforms. Not only are Webforms one of the best ways to provide value to our customers, they also heavily contribute to our customers' success within their organizations. But you don't have to take my word for it because we have some fantastic speakers to share with you this afternoon. Now, we've all attended our share of online events in the last 2 years, and I think we can all agree that the best ones are value-packed, informative, and short. I can hear a few of you through the screens going, yes, thank goodness. So my goal today and my promise to you is to keep it as short as we can and get that value to you as quick as we can. So with that said, the plan for this and the speakers for today's webinar include a short presentation from ClearRisk's own Sam Awan. Sam is a senior account executive and will talk about Webforms, what they are, the pain points they address, and the value they bring our customers. We will then show you a demo on a few different types of common Webforms brought to you by Alicia Murphy. She's ClearRisk training and support specialist. This demo will be followed by an interview with Kate Bryukhanova. She is a risk manager at Oxford Properties Group and a ClearRisk customer currently using a Webform. We will close out the webinar with a Q&A with all three speakers. As you can tell, we have a jam-packed webinar, but before I kick it off, I just want to, and bring Sam to the stage, I want to run through a few housekeeping items. If this was an in-person event, I'd highlight the emergency exits, but in the virtual world, I want to showcase some of the features of the webinar platform we are currently using. We encourage you to leave comments and reactions in the chat function on the right of your screen. This is my right. I don't know if it's your right. So you can go there. All the comments are public, so know that. We have Hind, who's moderating the chat, and she'd love to engage with you all. Hi, Hind. We also love to receive questions from you for our speakers throughout the webinar. There's a button at the bottom that says Ask a Question. You can enter your question or multiple questions at any point, and you have the ability to upvote other people's questions. We will do our best to answer them all for you today, but if we can't get to them all, we'll reach out to you after the webinar and do our best to answer them. There are a few questions in the polls in the button also down below. We encourage you to participate throughout the session. And last but not least, if you have to leave early, if you want to rewatch this session, or you want to share this webinar, the link you used to join today is also the link where the recording will be hosted after the event. So just come back to the same space and start watching, pick up where you left off. So on that note, I'd like to invite Sam. Sam is a senior account executive here at ClearRisk to the stage. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Elyse, and greetings, everybody. My name is Sam Awan, and as Elyse mentioned, I'm one of the senior account executives here. The purpose of this webinar is to talk about Webforms. So today I will be talking about what Webforms are in general, what do they do, what are some of the challenges customers face if you're not using them, and how ClearRisk uses Webforms. So simply put, Webforms is a medium to allow your customers, your users, your visitors to get in touch with you and share some type of an information. I mean, it could be an order, a catalog entry, or it could be a search query. Normally, all these requests are submitted into a database, and generally speaking, there is an email sent out. Once you receive all this information, there are some of the challenges with a traditional way of submitting all this information. And by traditional way, I mean submitting forms in formats of perhaps a PDF, an email where you have to scan and send documents. The first and foremost challenge with that is data integrity. And by that, what I mean is the data that you're receiving is incomplete and inconsistent. And in order to have complete data, there are communications that go behind the scenes where one of your team members is getting in touch with somebody who has submitted information and trying to get that information. Once you have received that information is then submitted into an Excel sheet or an Access database. And if you're talking about claims, different types of claims could be hosted in different types of Excel sheets or databases, which introduces another problem. And that problem is around data silos. Once you have data silos, reporting becomes a challenge if you want to go ahead and conduct some type of reports. There's lack of confidence because of inconsistency in the data and data silos. And we can never ignore human errors. So all those things, they amount to challenges that you could have with traditional methods of data submission. What we do here at ClearRisk is we use web forms to eliminate manual data entry for claims and incident submissions. Users will have the ability to submit all the relevant information and get it right the first time. We have the ability to make certain fields mandatory on the web forms that are important to your needs to intelligently triage a claim. Once a claim is submitted, an email is sent out um, notifying you that there is a new claim or incident in the system. Once all this information is presented to you in a format that is now housed in one centralized location, you can do intelligent work on it. Some of the advantages of using web forms are it streamlines your data intake process. All the information comes in a singular format, and that is a format that is designed by your company or your organization, and it standardizes your data collection process. It improves data integrity because, as I mentioned, there are certain fields that can be mandatory. So, for example, a lot of our customers complain about not having relevant information in terms of where an incident happened. People can have different interpretations of certain fields. So we can all make those mandatory, some type of an image or a witness type of fields. They can all be mandatory. So it improves your data integrity and it reduces communication gap. I mean, you don't have to go back and forth to get all that information. That information that relates to an incident is available to you in one centralized location. Web forms can be tailored, and by that, what I mean is from branding your own color scheme, your own logos. Um, we can certainly take that into account and make them look like a part of your organization. Web forms can be accessed on a computer, a tablet, on a cell phone, and you will have the ability to submit all the information even if you're on the go, if you're in the field. All the pictures and everything can be uploaded from your smart devices. Help text can be also available on your web forms. And by that, what I mean is instructions on what does a specific field mean or what type of information are you looking for, so that we can have all the information right at the first time. Conditional logic is a very smart a way of identifying what type of information you're looking for. You have the ability to either have two web forms, one for internal use for incidents and one external for your claimants. Or you can have a single web form where you can have a checkbox where by selecting a certain type of checkbox, conditional questions will open or a form will open rather, where they can input all the data. You have the ability to add or delete fields because we start with an open canvas. We give you all the options, and then based on your needs, what's important to your business, you will be able to select what's relevant. Notification is a very smart feature. Anytime a new um, claim or incident is submitted, you're always notified. everything is housed in one centralized location. You have the ability to go in and check what is happening. And all this automation through web forms allow you to conduct smart reporting and trend analysis. You will have the ability to go back and based on the mandatory fields that you have suggested, you don't have to have any mandatory fields, but if you have chosen a few fields to be mandatory fields, you can conduct trend analysis on those. You can see what has happened in the last 6 months, last 1 year, on the type, on the severity of a claim, on the time of the year, whether it was slip and fall or trip and fall. So it gives you a lot more data points to conduct smart reports. And those reports are then available for further investigation. I mean, you can have dashboards reflecting those reports. Web forms, they make your life easier. As I mentioned, based on the feedback that we have received, web forms contribute to the reduction of administrative data input by up to 85 to 95%. I hope this gives you a little bit of idea of what web forms are in general, what are some of the challenges if you're not using them, and how ClearRisk uses them. Some of the benefits. I would be more than happy to take any questions at the end of this webinar if you have any, and I hope you learned something from this session today. Elyse?
Great. Thank you so much, Sam. That was very informative and really quick, which is awesome. I gotta hold my promise that I told everyone. So better yet, it helped perfectly set up our demo video from Alicia. So we'll play that for you right now. We're going to walk through some of the things Sam touched on. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. Thanks.
Hey folks, my name is Alicia Murphy. Today I'm going to demo some of the web forms that ClearRisk offers and show you how the data is then captured in ClearRisk. I'm going to demo web forms that are used for reporting incidents, submitting contracts and certificates of insurance, and collecting information related to COVID-19. Let's start with an incident reporting web form. When an incident occurs, important information is entered on an online web form, such as the date of the incident and the time of the incident. Who was involved is also identified, and the type of incident. Based on the fields selected on the form, other sections will appear requesting additional information. Files like pictures of an accident scene or any other important documentations uploaded and attached to the web form. And when all the details have been entered, the web form submitted. After the web form submitted, pertinent parties receive an email notification letting them know that a new incident has been reported. Included with the email notification is a PDF copy of all of the responses that were entered on the web form. And the incident record is also created in ClearRisk. All the details that were entered on the web form are captured on the record. And any files that were included with the web form submission are also on the record in ClearRisk. A ClearRisk user within an organization can then review the record. They may decide that they want to change the record type if they decide that this incident should indeed progress to a claim. And there may be some other details that they want to enter. So let's move on and talk about how a web form can be used to automate your contracts and certificates of insurance management process. When a new or updated contract or certificate of insurance is required, you simply send a link to the vendor or contact person. This is an example of an email sent from a city clerk to a vendor requesting a certificate of insurance. When the vendor receives the email, they'll click on the link to open the web form. This is an example of what a typical certificate request form may look like. The vendor or the insured contact enter all the applicable information on the form, and they will attach a copy of the certificate to the form, and then they'll submit it. After the web form is submitted, the contract or the certificate of insurance record is then automatically captured in ClearRisk. Information about the insured organization and the broker, as well as important dates like the expiry date of the certificate, are available on that certificate of insurance record in ClearRisk. Information about applicable lines of insurance, policy numbers, and limits that were entered on the web form are also captured on the record. And you can view a copy of the certificate of insurance that was submitted along with the web form. Email notifications are then sent out to pertinent parties when a contract or certificate of insurance is 60, 30, and 0 days away from its expiration date. At that point, if a new contract or certificate of insurance is required, the process starts again with an email sent to the vendor or the insured contact containing a link to the web form that they'll complete with their updated information, and then they will submit the web form with the new contract or certificate of insurance information included. Lastly, I want to show you how ClearRisk uses web forms for capturing important details related to COVID-19. What you see here is an example of an employee screening form. This form is accessed by employees within an organization prior to the start of their workday. They enter contact information, and then they'll answer a series of questions. Upon submission of the web form, an email notification is sent to an employee's manager if they fail the screening, which essentially means that they answered yes to one or more questions. The email will notify the manager that one of their direct reports has failed the screening and that they're not allowed to enter the workplace. A screening record is also created in ClearRisk. This is created regardless of whether or not the employee passed or failed their screening, and it indicates if the employee has been exposed to COVID-19, if they've traveled, or if they have symptoms of COVID-19. The HR manager or the supervisor can then review the record and update it. They may decide to reach out to the employee. Web forms can also be used for tracking employee vaccinations within an organization. Similar to how an employee completes a screening form, they'll also complete a vaccination form as they receive their COVID-19 vaccinations. After submitting their vaccination form, the employee's vaccination record is automatically updated in ClearRisk. Organizations can then build reports to identify how many of the employees have been and have not yet been vaccinated. That wraps up everything that I wanted to show you today. I want to end with some customer testimonials. Through the use of web forms, our customers have been able to streamline their claims management process, their certificate of insurance and contract management process, and their COVID-19 monitoring process. This allows them to collect better data, and they'll also save a lot of time. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and I hope you enjoy the remainder of your day.
Thank you, Alicia, for that demo. We'll bring Alicia back on stage for the Q&A, but for now, I want to bring your attention to the green button at the bottom of the screen that says Learn More. If you'd like to learn more about ClearRisk or our web forms, click away. It'll be there after the webinar as well. If you're a current customer, you can always reach out to your customer success manager like myself. We're happy to help, and not just because it's literally our job to help you to do that. With that, I'd like to invite Kate. She's the risk manager at Oxford Properties Group to the stage. Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Great. Welcome. It means a lot to us that you volunteered your time to speak with us. Here at ClearRisk, we can talk all day about why we think webinars are great, but it means nothing if our customers don't also think so. So thank you and welcome. I'll start by asking a few questions, but I encourage anyone watching to add your own questions down below. We'll do our best to address them in the Q&A. So Kate, can you tell us about Oxford Properties and your role within the organization?
Sure. So thank you for that introduction. As Elyse mentioned, I work for Oxford Properties, which is the real estate arm of the OMERS Pension Fund. We own, develop, and manage assets all over North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. So we do asset classes such as residential, industrial, retail, and office. I am the risk manager in the department, and like most risk management departments, we are a pretty small group, so there is a lot of cross-functional sharing. So I do a lot, or I participate in a lot of the functions that our team delivers to Oxford, but I would primarily say that I help with the operational side, which includes things like contract review, lease agreement review. We assist with any insurance questions that the site personnel may have, and of course, deal with the claims piece.
Of course. Okay. Can you share how Oxford Properties is currently using your ClearRisk web form?
Sure. So as Sam mentioned, there are a lot of great benefits. We switched over to ClearRisk web form in April of 2021. Before that, we did have an adjuster web form that was created for us by the adjusting firm we were using. But the initial implementation was 20 years ago. So of course, there were a lot of limitations that came with it. And one of the biggest ones is that it wasn't very customizable, and it revolved around our Canadian market portfolio. But as we were growing, of course, we needed our partners to grow with us, and that's not their primary role. They were an adjusting firm. So we needed someone with a risk management platform who can understand our needs and help out. Basically, at the moment, our sites submit incident reports. And as Alicia showed in her presentation, things like, we start with event date, location date, and it's just such a good platform, such a concise way to ask for information and store information.
Great. Since implementing the web form, can you speak to any of the other benefits that you've noticed with your data, your ability to report, any of those things?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest advantage is that we now own our data. As many risk managers that are on the call know, with the hardening insurance market, insurers are all about data. The demand for more concise data presentations in a format that they like to see is probably with every insurance company. And if you can deliver it in the way they like it, that earns you brownie points with the underwriter, which is always a good thing.
Always.
And of course, now a lot of organizations are looking into creating captives, and claims data is essentially the number one requirement needed to create that. Being able to run reports, and as Sam pointed out, we can do conditional logic. So for example, if your cause of loss is assault and it's selected, then an additional question of what type of assault, is it verbal, is it physical? That was really useful for our teams in the way that we like to collect data and again, run our analysis. My favorite feature, which wasn't talked about, but I think is really cool and everybody should know about it, is the save as draft feature. Basically, when we had our previous web form, we got a lot of complaints that the form would time out and then people would lose all the information. And sometimes there's a lot of detail that goes into reporting what actually happened. So we asked ClearRisk, who helped us set up a save as draft option where our staff are able to, so they're filling out the form, they need to step away, they click save as draft, and then, you create a temporary password that it gets sent to you. And then once you're ready to complete the form, you go back, you enter it, and all the information is there. And we've had a lot of great feedback about that from the sites, because some incidents have a lot of information that you just don't have time to sit down and fill it out all at once. So I really love that.
Great. It's a great thing to bring up. I heard this recently, that sometimes here at ClearRisk, we get so these are the big tech things that we need to tell people about, but sometimes it's those simple things that make all the difference to customers. And so that's a great point. Are there any other elements about using a web form that you'd share with a fellow professional peer who currently isn't using one?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I would like to point out is that for companies that are global in different jurisdictions, a great benefit is that the storage of the information is very secure, which is so important to probably every single business out there. We are also able to collect our incident reports from other countries. Before, it was everybody has their own system, they enter it into it, then the loss runs, all kinds of different formats. But as Sam mentioned, it is so crucial to have everything in the same format so we can report things accurately, and providing access all over, like Germany, France, UK, Australia. Everybody has the same questions, so everything is in the same format, and we get a really good look at our risks and helps with loss control stuff too. And one thing that I do want to mention also is there are a lot of providers that probably offer similar capabilities with web reporting forms, but what I found really stands out to me is the level of customer service. The team is always there to help. We get a response, within half an hour. Always open to work with us to customize. I'll email and I say, oh, I want this one day. And then the next day our needs change. So then I ask, okay, well, can we change it? And there's no hard feelings, at least they're not shared with me. And with our busy lives, it's so important to have that kind of ongoing support.
Thank you so much. I will definitely make sure our support team gets that shout out, because they do amazing work. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for those answers. Are there any additional benefits or anything else you wanted to add?
Every time I don't hear a complaint about a product that we're using is great news for me. So I think just because I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, the fact that I don't get an email every day saying, oh, this doesn't work, this broke down, what happened to the link, just speaks volumes.
Fantastic. Great. Well, those are all the questions I had. Thank you so much. I'm going to invite Alicia and Sam onto the stage. We have a couple questions coming in from the audience. So here we go. Welcome back, Sam, and welcome, Alicia. So the first question, one for Kate. Can you elaborate more on the reports needed for captives?
Yeah. So, of course, depending on the insurer that's going to be fronting for you, some of the requirements are losses, of course, severity and frequency. The most important thing that is required is, of course, the total incurred for each claim, so we can properly set up our deductibles. But frequency and severity is something that the actuaries need in order to do that kind of analysis, tell us what are the cost benefit estimates of the premium credits we would get if we were to go to the insurance market and say, look, we're setting up a captive. Our self-insured retention is going to be $1 million. Look at the amount of money you will be saving by taking us on with an essentially $1 million deductible. So that's the information that the broker requires. Thankfully, we did have the web form that I was talking about for the past 20 years. So we were able to get about 20 years of, it's not necessarily the most robust data, but we were able to get 20 years of loss runs, which is really helping us paint a picture of whether it's for us or not.
Great. This one, I might also, it's a bit Kate, but I think Alicia can definitely help. How easy is it to run monthly reports in ClearRisk on the information submitted through a web form?
So I can go first. The fantastic part is that you can pre-create standardized reports that will report monthly or weekly or biweekly, whatever you want. You can set your frequency and you can request what kind of information you want every single report to have. So you have these preset templates, which then go out as frequently as you need them to. And this is great. Our sites also ask for this, a monthly report of open and closed claims. So really cool feature that we can set up. ClearRisk does it automatically. I don't have to go in and do it manually every month and email it to people. You give it an email address and it just sends it monthly. I can forget about it.
Set and forget.
I just wanted to add to that too. One other great feature is, and kind of along the same lines as what Kate just said, in addition to being able to build your own reports, and you can essentially build a report on anything that's in a field in ClearRisk, and we can capture anything that's in a field on a web form. So you can essentially build reports on anything in there. In addition to that, there's also some canned reports, and they're your typical reports that you often will have to generate, and they're built in the same way that as the data continues to flow in, they will continue to update, and you'll have those reports then just readily available right there for you.
Fantastic. Do we have any other questions? Anyone else want to ask one more? This is your last chance. Looking at Hind, she's got no other ones for me. Did I not cover anything? Is there anything else, Sam, Kate, Alicia, that we should say before we say goodbye? No? Great
presentation.
Well, thank you, Kate, Sam, Alicia, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us here today. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to participate, and also a special thank you to all of you who joined us here today for this webinar. We hope you, there's one more question coming in. Sorry, there's one more. Kate, Hind is putting it in the channel for me right now. Is it coming? This way we don't have to send it out to you all later. Can you edit canned reports? Alicia, you can give me that one.
For the canned reports, the canned report itself, you cannot edit, but what you can do is you can save a copy of that report and then you can edit that. So yes, you can essentially edit a canned report. You just need to save it or clone it as a separate report.
Perfect. And you can do that with any other report that you create. So if you create one, you can then clone that and then also edit that. So that's how I do my reports, is I kind of start one and then I pull out from there. It makes it way quicker and easier. Okay, so that's it. I hope you all learned a lot. We're going to have lots of more webinars coming up in the future. We got a lot in the pipeline, so you'll probably be hearing from us. We hope we see you there. And if you have any questions about anything you've learned today, questions about ClearRisk, specific questions for our speakers, please leave them in the Ask Question button, and we'll do our best to get back to you as quickly as possible. And feel free to leave suggestions for future webinars. We're always looking for more things that our customers and